Hello and welcome back to another division getting opened. Okay, this is the Super Bantamweight division, and I'm kicking the playlist off with former Super Bantamweight champion Jack Kid Wolfe, who, as you can see, had a very, very large career. Let us go through his main opponents now. Jack Kid Wolfe starts out with a 5-fight series against top 10 all-time bantamweight Joe Lynch. Jack Kid Wolfe scored 2 wins and suffered 3 losses from those 5 fights. He also fought and defeated another top 10 bantamweight in my rankings, Pete Kid Herman, in a singular fight, before then fighting former champion Joe Berman on 4 occasions. Okay, Jack Kid Wolfe scored 3 wins with no losses and 1 draw. He then defeats another of my top 10 all-time bantamweights, Kid Williams the Dane, okay, scoring a win in a singular fight. Next up is Sammy Mandel. Okay, Jack Kid Wolfe fights Sammy Mandel on 2 occasions, suffering 2 defeats. He also fights and loses to former champion Carl Duane in a singular fight, before then having a 4-fight series against Hall of Famer Memphis Paul Moore, scoring 1 win with 2 losses and 1 draw from that series. Next up, he fights a draw with Mike Dundee, and then also fights Danny Kramer, okay, a contender, suffering a defeat. He then twice fights tough contender Carl Tremaine, scoring a loss and a draw, and then he suffers singular defeat to Leo Kid Roy. Next up is Carl Delaney. Jack Kid Wolfe fought him on 3 occasions, suffering 1 loss and 2 draws, and he twice defeated Frankie Mason before also holding a win over recently featured fighter Johnny Griffiths. He closed out this first slide with a 5-fight series against contender Al Schubert, scoring 1 win with 4 losses and no draws. So that is the first slide for Jack Kid Wolfe. When we go on to slide 2, we can see he fights and loses to Eddie O'Keefe in a singular fight before having a 4-fight series with experienced Dick Lodeman, scoring 3 wins with no losses and 1 draw. Next up, Jack Kid Wolfe fights a draw to Andy Cheney before then gaining 2 wins over contender Johnny Ertel. Next up, Gussie Lewis, okay, is fought by Jack Kid Wolfe to a draw, and then he scores a singular win over Danny Frush before then fighting twice good contender Earl Puryear, scoring 1 win, no loss and 1 draw from those 2 fights. Next up is Charlie Beecher, whom Jack Kid Wolfe loses to. He then fights a 4-fight series with Frankie Jerome, scoring 2 wins, 1 loss and 1 draw. The final 3 names on here, the first is Johnny Kaiser. Jack Kid Wolfe fights him twice, suffering a loss and a draw, and then he closes out winning both final opponents. The first is Eddie O'Dowd, whom Jack Kid Wolfe defeats 2 times from 2 fights, and he also held a win over Young Montreal. So there is 56 fights highlighted there for Jack Kid Wolfe. He scored 24 wins, 20 losses and 12 draws. So when we go on to his stats, Jack Kid Wolfe scored 12 knockouts in his career, 5 of them in 3 rounds or less, and 0 in the first round. He also scored no KOs or stoppages over champions. He scored 1 against Hall of Famers and 0 against pound for pounders. Jack Kid Wolfe also scored 0 KOs against rated fighters. Now, in terms of rounds boxed, Jack Kid Wolfe fought a total of 1,312 career rounds. He fought a total of 27 title fight rounds, and he fought totals of 149 rounds against champions, 127 rounds against Hall of Famers, and 32 rounds against pound for pounders. Now, in very reduced numbers on what they would have been due to the pre-rating era and the ratings coming in, Jack Kid Wolfe only managed 72 rounds against top 10 fighters, 57 rounds against top 3 fighters, and 22 rounds against ring champions, although those last 3 figures there would be much higher had we got ratings for his whole career. So when we go on to the slide against champions, okay, Jack Kid Wolfe had 14 fights against champions. That included 7 wins, 6 losses and 1 draw, and he defeated 4 individual champions, and 3 of them are in my top 10 bantamweights of all time, as highlighted on the main opponent breakdown. They are Joe Lynch, Pete Kid Herman and Kid Williams, and he also beat the excellent Joe Berman 3 times out of 4 with a draw. That's a great result from that fight series against the capable Joe Berman there. Jack Kid Wolfe scored knockouts over no champions individually. So when we go on to the Hall of Fame slide, okay, we see Jack Kid Wolfe had 13 fights against Hall of Famers, with a record of 5 wins, 7 losses and 1 draw. Now, Jack Kid Wolfe defeated 4 individual Hall of Fame fighters. They are Memphis Palmer, Joe Lynch, Pete Kid Herman and Kid Williams, and he did score a knockout or stoppage over one of those 4 Hall of Famers. That was the great Memphis Palmer, and I say great, okay, because he's a very, very underrated fighter. He has one of the toughest resumes outside of the main ATGs like Greb and Loughran and Langford, etc. He has an incredibly deep, tough resume. He's crazy. Have I done his career video yet? I don't think I have, but I'll do it soon so you can see. So there is his slide on Hall of Famers. When we go to the pound for pounders, he didn't fight as many fights against pound for pounders, having a total of 3 fights, including 1 win, 2 loss, no draw. He defeated 1 individual pound for pounder, that is the great bantamweight champion Pete Kid Herman, and he scored knockouts over 0 pound for pounders individually. So on we go, okay, to rated opponent slide. Now, as highlighted on his rounds boxed, okay, he has very reduced numbers. Fighters like Berman and Kid Williams and Herman and Lynch, all those guys, okay, would be top 10, top 3. Many would be ring champions. Sadly, we don't have the correct ratings. So he has a reduced total of 8 fights against top 10 fighters, including no wins, 6 loss, 2 draw. He has 6 fights against top 3 fighters, going no win, 4 loss, 2 draw, and he has 2 fights against ring champions, both of which are defeats. So Jack Kid Wolfe defeated no individual rated fighters and scored knockouts over 0 individual rated fighters, again handicapped by lack of ratings during his across his whole career. So on to world title fight stats now. Jack Kid Wolfe had 2 world title fights. That included 1 win, 1 loss and no draw. Jack Kid Wolfe made no title defences and scored 0 title fight KOs. He scored 0 wins against top 10 fighters, top 3 fighters and ring champions in title fights, but he did score a win against a champion and a Hall of Famer in a title fight, but no wins against pound for pound fighters in title fights. So on to titles won, okay. Jack Kid Wolfe was one of the early holders of the World Super Bantamweight title. He is also regarded as a lineal Super Bantamweight champion and an undisputed, albeit briefly, Super Bantamweight champion. So there's a fighter, Jack Kid Wolfe, that most people on YouTube never speak of, okay. He was not an all-time great. He was a very good fighter, but not at a level I would call all-time great. But he certainly has a deep resume. He fought many tough contenders, fighters like Memphis Palmer 4 times. He fought Joe Berman 4 times, okay, winning 3 and drawing 1. He beat Kid Herman. He had that 5-fight series with all-time great bantamweight Joe Lynch, winning 2 of the 5. So a fantastic career. Very underrated fighter, as in he's never mentioned. When people talk about bantamweights, super bantamweights, he's never mentioned. He's one of those forgotten fighters, and that's why I love highlighting their careers on my channel, and many more are to come. So there's my latest career video. Super bantamweights are now opened up with the first entry, the excellent Jack Kid Wolfe. I'm the Boxing Librarian. I will be back, of course, constantly over coming days, weeks, months and years with many more videos. I am out for now.